Hey everybody, Zach here with Infernal Tool Technologies, and today I want to talk to you guys about the future of the construction industry and specifically how it pertains to green energy. It's a buzzword right now. Everybody's going towards green energy and they want to make everything 100% green. And for some time now, the construction industry has skated by, and I just do not believe that it's going to last for a very long time. The construction industry is immensely wasteful, unfortunately, and something does have to be done about it. But for what the future holds for the industry, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for a lot of companies to live up to what they are going to be demanding. And we're going to see big changes with who makes it and who doesn't, and after that period of time too, who is actually going to even want to get into the construction industry because there's going to be so many rules and regulations around all of that. So in my time in the construction industry, something that I have noticed since day one is the fact that we do waste a lot of materials just from basic small level residential jobs all the way up to big commercial jobs. All the way there is just a lot of waste. And I've just never really known what they could do about it. Like, for example, you're doing a kitchen, it all comes in cardboard boxes and plastic, wrapped in plastic. All the separate pieces, the hardware comes in plastic, screws comes in plastics, and everybody just throws that stuff out. It goes into a dump truck, and then that dump truck goes to the dump, and it gets dumped, and it gets pushed into a pile, and then put into a major dump at that point. And that's just the way it's been. I mean, my entire career has been pretty much that specific layout where we're just throwing everything into our dump truck, and then that dump truck is bringing it to the dump. And I'm mainly a residential worker, but I know in the commercial industry, I've worked a few jobs and know some people that work in it, and the dumps, it's the same thing just on a bigger scale. All the trades are thrown into one dumpster or multiple dumpsters, and those are getting hauled away right to the dump. And that is a huge issue because there's a lot of materials that can be recycled, and I'm sure some of them do at some sort of processing at a plant, but I just don't think at the scale that we could actually make that happen. And that's going to be extremely difficult for people to do. Like, I know just in my experience in the residential field, people they just don't take the time to do that. You'd have to sort through all the cardboard and the plastics and construction debris and make sure that you're putting them in separate areas. And then what do you do? Do you fill up the homeowner's recycle bin with the recyclables? Do you take them back to your own construction company and have your own recycle container, and when it fills up have a dump truck come and take it away? Maybe that's something that people can start doing, is sifting through it in the beginning and then bringing it back to their own um, workplace and putting it into separate containers at that point. But how many people are likely to do that? If they put through some regulation, that's going to just overnight ruin a lot of businesses because people are just going to be so against actually doing that. And some people will do it, but I just think that would cause some massive disruptions in the industry. So I think what they're going to do is put through some little regulations here and there. I think they're mainly going to start in the commercial industry, but it's going to trickle down to the residential industry. And anybody who's doing any type of work is going to be regulated. I think specifically when you go to the dump, they're going to tell you right then and there, we're not going to take this garbage from you if it's not sorted, and that's going to be dramatic. So they might get the regulations at the dump, and that could be really bad. A lot of people that have been stuck in their ways of doing something for a very long time are going to have to change, and that's always tough for people to do. So we'll see some very big changes in the commercial construction and residential construction industry at that point. So these are some of the concerns that I think are going to be happening when it pertains to the waste that we are creating in the construction industry. But I think there's also going to be a lot of big changes where they're going to actually enact in laws. And again, this is going to happen, I think, in the commercial industry where you're going to have to actually be carbon neutral. And that's been a big topic lately, carbon neutrality. And basically, what it is you have to, the amount of carbon that you are expending, you need to be creating some sort of clean energy that neutralizes the amount of carbon that you're using, so that in the future you're actually going to be producing or extracting carbon. Um, and they'll give you credits towards that. And then these credits are barterable. People can actually buy credits, and you can sell credits, and it's going to be a whole industry of big business just buying and selling their carbon credits and building way too much green energy that we don't need. And it's going to be a big headache. But I think in the construction industry specifically, they're going to make it so people have to incorporate some sort of clean energy into their systems. If it's having solar panels on the buildings that they're creating, or windmills, or maybe some sort of water generation, whatever it may be, it's going to have to be something that they can become carbon neutral with. And I don't know how that would actually trickle down to the residential industry, but it could potentially. If people are trying to do major remodels on their home, they might tell them, well, hey, you're going to have to put some solar panels on, like you're doing redoing your roof or something. It could get to that point because they're really taking this seriously, and they want to cut down on carbon emissions, I guess, even though that's a whole different topic. But we're just going to start talking about what's going to be coming down the pipeline for us, because it's real things that you need to think of. If you're starting a construction company, or you're already have a construction company, these are things you need to be thinking about today, because overnight they can enact a law that will change the whole scope of your work. I mean, sorting recyclables and construction debris, that's a dramatic change in itself right there. Having your workers have to do that, that's just insane. So these are some of the concerns that I'm seeing, and some of the things that I think are going to be coming soon, especially in certain states like California, uh, and just the New York potentially are going to be the states that probably forefront this. But it's probably going to happen countrywide at some point. But let's put the concerns aside for a minute, and let's see what kind of opportunity we can actually extract from this situation. So, when it comes to the recycling aspect of this job, this could be an offering that you give to the customer, because not only are governments extremely interested in this green energy and being carbon neutral, but so are the everyday people. And people for some time now have been choosing greener options when it comes to your laundry detergent, to the food you eat, and the practices and how the agriculture is done, and all these types of things. People have been shifting to being more green. So in the construction industry, I've already seen some companies, they're actually marketing and advertising their business as a clean business, and they use recycled products, and they do the recycling. Like I said, they actually sift through all the debris, and they make sure that they're not wasting a lot of materials and things like that, which is tough. It's very difficult in this industry, but I'm sure people pay a premium for that as well. So it's something that you could potentially think about doing and offering yourself, and you might want to be ahead of the curve, because when these laws and regulations do come in effect, if you already have everything implemented in your business, then it's not going to affect you. And it's actually going to do you a lot of good, because the businesses that do get affected by it all the customers and consumers are going to shift to your business pretty quickly at that point because you already have the infrastructure in place. So that's one small move that all of us can be taking today to just kind of have like a little bit of insurance, maybe. Just start doing these small changes. Maybe tell your guys in the field, be like, hey, if you got the time, just make sure you're sorting some things. Like I said, the kitchen cabinets, the cardboard that it comes in, maybe just put the cardboard to the side and the plastic to the side, and then all the like the major like demolition debris, throw that right in the dump and figure out different ways to do it. Maybe if you have your own big dumpster at your site, maybe get a big recycling bin and have somebody be a sifter um, at your shop or something like that. Or there's a lot of things you could do to just start implementing these things because I'm telling you right now, they are coming down the pipeline. They will be. It doesn't seem like that's ever possible for the construction industry, but let me tell you, it's going to be here and they're going to be doing it. It's just the direction that we're going. And I've known for a long time the construction industry is extremely wasteful. So they're going to come at it. They're going to come at it with some laws and regulations that you need to protect yourself by. But let's step away from the construction companies for just a minute and put ourselves in the shoes of the recycling companies. And I think there is massive opportunity for people who are interested in recycling. I've noticed all the dumps that I've gone to in the recycling plants, they don't have major operations of sifting of the recycling plants are a little bit better, but the dumps they're just terrible. They just lump everything into one pile and just ship it off to the major dump. And you could actually start your own dump site or recycling plant and just be really pushing this green energy and have people that sift through things. Or what I'm going to go into next is implement some robotics into your company. And if you're at the forefront of this and all of a sudden one day they have some law enacted where you have to sift the garbage and the construction debris, if you already have a dump or a recycling plant that has those practices in place where you can do the sifting for the contractor, they're all going to go to you, let me tell you, because like I said in the beginning of this video, the contractors are just going to have a very hard time trying to be green and sifting through materials. The profit margins sometimes are pretty slim as it is, so having to do that as well is just going to it's going to put a lot of people out of business unless there's some other businesses out there that will do the sifting for them, where they can go to the dump and not be turned away because they didn't pre-sift their recyclables and their debris. If you can offer that and have that um, offering in your workplace, then you can charge a premium for that too. You'll make a massive amount of money because these people don't want to go out of business and they don't want to hire people and make their workers angry for having to go through all this green energy stuff. It's just going to drive them away. It's really going to be a big disruption unless these companies are put in place. And you could be at the forefront of one of these companies. And so let's move on to the next step of a company like this, which I really think could be amazing, because who wants to sift through garbage all day? I'm sure there's not a lot of people that want to do that. Even young kids right out of high school, or even in high school in the summers, probably don't want to do this. There's not many people that want to sift through garbage. So what we could do is start moving towards robotics and having robots that actually sift through the garbage, have scanners or sensors on them where they can differentiate what material is what, and they can actually be doing the sifting 24/7. They don't have to stop. And I know we're pretty far away from having any really advanced robotics to where when it comes to charging and artificial intelligence and things like that, we're still kind of getting there with that technology. But some very basic robotics could be implemented at these recycling plants where they could be sifting through and pulling apart what's good and what's bad, or what can be reused and what can't. And you could maybe be one of the first companies to start looking into that, implementing that into your business, and having all these contractors and these big developers come to you and drop off all their debris to you, and you just handle it for them. You'll be a one-stop shop for them, so they don't even have to worry about it. They can keep on going as usual, and the job gets done in the recycling plant. Let the construction workers do what they do best, and let the recyclers do what they do best. So I just wanted to bring this up because this really is going to be a big change in the industry. I don't know when it's coming. A lot of these places are saying that by 2030 or 2035, they want to be 100% green. They want to be carbon neutral by 2050, which is massive. And so over the next few years, they're going to really start pushing these little laws, and they're going to start changing a lot of things just subtly, because that's what the government does, is they do small nudges in the entire scope of the country or an economy. Then 10 years from now, 15 years from now, all of a sudden we're in a whole different world. And I think that's what they're going to be doing with this green energy. They're going to make small laws where they're going to be nudging people in a certain direction, and that's what they're going to do in construction. Just wait and see. They're going to nudge you in some way where you have to be a certain way, you have to be green in some way. And it could be even when it comes to vehicles. I mean, the green energy movement with vehicles is becoming huge. Who knows when they're going to say, you know what, you can't use gas-powered vehicles anymore. And in the construction industry, that's huge. I mean, people have dump trucks, dump trailers, they're pulling trailers, there's heavy machinery. I mean, that would be a big disruption right there alone. So it's just some stuff to think about. Look into it. There's plenty of information out there on going green and carbon neutral. Definitely look into carbon neutrality, because I've been seeing it pop up everywhere. Major businesses are having to have these conversations now when they want to start a factory or a plant, and it's going to trickle down to just the everyday homeowner and small business owner. We're going to have to be making these same decisions, and it could be 5 years from now, it could be 15 years from now, but it's definitely going to be coming down the road. So like I said, think of some of these things and maybe implement small nudges in your own company. Just do small little changes here and there. Just tweak things a little bit so that your employees are actually a little bit more, they'll entertain the idea of actually doing these little things. If you're just doing it at a slow pace, instead of just one day being like, hey guys, we have to sort everything and life's going to be a lot different right now. So food for thought, maybe implement some parts of it into your business. But let me know what you think. Put a comment down below. Do you guys think this is coming down the pipeline for the construction industry? What do you think it looks like? Do you see them having construction workers have to sift, or do you see that happening at the recycling plants, or do you see them even carrying it all and just letting it go on as normal? Just please let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. If I brought you any value today, please give it a like and maybe subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.